Yeah, for John and Nick, obviously, for a comeback of that magnitude, what was it kind of like with the message at the locker room at halftime? Obviously, it's, I think second biggest comeback in a long time, and just what does it speak, to you guys and kind of your mental fortitude that it didn't seem like any heads were really down after that?
I just say we couldn't put our heads down, or we were going to lose that game. Especially me with the first half. That's one of my worst first half I've had. But yeah, I just told myself keep my head up. It's going to be all right. I'm gonna weather through this storm, and coach just challenged our leaders to be better. I think we did that in the second half, and I think guys stepped up like BC and Jack, and then we strung a great second half together.
John, right up front here, guys.
For whoever wants to take it, obviously, scoring was pretty terrific there in the second half. But, in terms of all the other things defensively, kind of how did you feel like that kind of helped you guys get to that comeback?
Yeah, I mean, I think just our defensive edge, like our focus, we was just communicating to each other more. I mean, down in that situation, down 18 at half, we just like, man, when we come out, we just got to communicate and just bring energy any way we could. So just our communication, man, and, being physical, I think really changed the second half.
Nick, it seemingly doesn't matter the game situation. You're always energized. I guess what allows you to stay that way even when you guys are having the worst first half that you had all season?
He's from the East Coast.
Man, it's just like, just think about my journey, to be in the Big Ten and playing these type of games. So, I just can't take it for granted. I was going down a rabbit hole the other day and just talking about, how many more games I have left in this building. I kind of said that before the game, and it's dwindling. I don't know how many more home games we have or the opportunity to just hype up the crowd. So I'm trying not to take it for granted. And, when we have a first half like we did, it goes back to just not taking things for granted and just playing as hard as you can and having fun with it.
For Jack and Braden, we've seen, in a lot of recent games, you guys go to that stretch four look where you guys are going smaller and playing a small ball and seen a lot of success with that, both on offense and defense for both of you. What does that unit kind of bring to this court, and how are you guys kind of getting some of that chemistry on the court together where you're playing as good as y'all are?
Yeah, obviously we've turned to that small ball lineup in the last couple of matchups in the Big Ten, but with Alexis being hurt today, I was fortunate enough to start that second half. But I think overall we get sort of an underdog mentality playing small ball naturally. I'm usually guarding a 5 or a 4, and that naturally just leads JB, BC, Nick to want to help me more and me help them. So we came together in that second half on both sides, but it's all about that edge, and I think when we play small, we got a lot of that edge.
Jack, kind of, maybe tapping into the underdog mentality a little bit, just the way you continue to embrace that role, whether it's charge, going up for the block shot late, and just how much value do you place on being able to play that role in a tight game like this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you look at the stat line and you wouldn't think much of my performance, but obviously I'm out there for a reason. So there's going to be nights when the shots are dropping and I'm open, and I'm fortunate enough to feed off these guys' great playmaking. But at the same time, I know my role on this team, and the main thing is the main thing, and it's winning. So whatever I can do to help the team win, I think Coach knows that and the whole staff knows that, and I'm out there to help. So I was happy to help the team today and squeak out a big Big Ten win.
Go ahead, Michael, and then we'll go one more.
John, this game kind of unfolded pretty similar to that Villanova game earlier in the season, just a different outcome. I guess, what's changed about this team since that game, able to complete this comeback?
I think we just have more fight, and I think we're more together. I think like games like that, were early in the season, we got down a little bit and we just dropped our heads. But this game, we kept fighting, kept chipping away, and we, the communication on the court in the second half, and we're talking to each other, and everybody's just, we're gonna make a mistake, and Jack got my back, BC got my back, and Nick got my back. I think we didn't have that earlier in the year against games like Villanova, and then closing time. We just didn't close that game against Villanova the right way, and I think practice on closing out games has been better. So I think we executed down the stretch today.
Okay, final question.
For John and Nick, first half felt like there was a lot of physical action, tough to get into the driving lanes, a lot of no calls. Second half, you guys really turned it around. Minnesota's coach kind of complimented both of y'all, just relentlessness and aggressiveness. Kind of what changed in the second half compared to the first half Was there a difference in aggression, or do you just feel results are just different in that second half?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just think we just stayed at it. I think that's who we are. I think that's what this team needs us to be. If we get our shot blocked, next play, keep going at it. And these guys in the locker room trust me and Nick to go at it every single game. Like, keep going at the rim, keep drawing fouls, because we got to shoot foul shots. But, yeah, I think we just didn't drop our heads. We just kept going to the rim, kept trying to get fouled and make plays for our team.
Okay, final question.
Braden, you, before that 4-point play, you called for the ball pretty aggressively. I guess take us through that play and just what it felt to make that shot.
When I feel like there's any space, I'm going to call for it because obviously the way I've been shooting the ball, I don't really get that much space anymore. And I know Nick's going to find me, JB's going to find me. So, I'm just going to call for it, and they trust me to shoot the ball and to make big shots. And it was a big play, big momentum swing too, so just be ready.
To come back from that deficit there at halftime, what was the biggest thing that you saw differently from this group in the second half?
Aggressiveness, physicality. We had a pulse. I think we just, we were, like I said, we initiated things better. We were on attack mode better. We got to the free throw line. We didn't play. I thought we were just tougher in all aspects of the game.
Go ahead right here at the end, Coach. Then you.
Coach, it seemed like the defense was a steadying presence tonight, even when some of the shots weren't falling in the first half. Just what did you see from that side of the floor, especially in the second half when it seemed like you guys needed every stop to kind of make that comeback possible?
Yeah, I thought, we were able to, keep the ball in front of us much better than we did in the first half. Obviously made some big defensive plays. Janicki's charge I thought was big. Winter had a block at the rim. We were able to, for the most part, make it much more difficult from their offensive standpoint in the second half. And like I said earlier to John's question, we were just more physical. We were more physically engaged. We were initiating contact, and hence, obviously, on the offensive end, we were able to get to the bonus quick and play at the free throw line quite a bit in the second half. But defensively, I thought we were, we had more bite to us than what we did in the first half. And it's a credit to Minnesota. They were making some shots. Durkin hit some shots, and they hit some shot clock plays. And, it seemed like everything that we couldn't do anything right in the first half. So it was good for us to respond specifically from the defensive end. Shots are going to come and go. They'll fall eventually, but that other end is what got us back on track.
Nick?
Yeah, Greg, obviously, Nick and John leading scorers, but guys like Janicki, like you mentioned, Aussie Rapp had a couple of steals. Just what stood out as they kind of almost seemed to be the spark plug, especially on that defensive end in the second half?
Yeah, I thought, Janicki, I thought was, and he has been that. If you've been watching practice film and even games, he kind of is our defensive catalyst because he can switch a lot of things. He's very astute. He covers up mistakes at times from others. He's always typically in the right position. He got back cut by Reynolds a couple times tonight, but he was over helping. He's kind of developing into that multi-dimensional guy like Gilmore was. He's not as big, but and Gilly was like that. He was always covering up. He kind of quarterbacking the defense from in behind because he's usually in a help position, and so his activity and aggressiveness was important. Aussie, I thought, was, finally good to see him, make some plays other than just be dependent on shooting threes. Deflected one. We actually didn't get the ball, but when he deflected and knocked a dribble loose, thought he rebounded fairly well. He finished around the rim. So, he just needs to keep that part. That's part of the game that we've been demanding from him to grow in, and he has to be more than just a three-point shooter, and it's good to see him contribute in that way.
Michael?
Nick is one guy that never seems like he gets down. I guess what impact did it have tonight when you guys were in that rough situation in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I tried about every lineup combination possible, just trying to get us out of our funk that we were in. And I pulled him a couple times because of just mistakes and over dribbling and just to let the offense work for us. Let's play better together. And when we did it, we were able to create good looks. But he stays. He's a tough sucker. I mean, he's mentally tough. Obviously physically tough. He's a fierce competitor. You've heard me talk about that before. So yeah, I can get after him and he responds. So I think he, and nobody had a really good first half, including me. But the second half he responded, as did his teammates, and obviously we played much better.
Okay.
Alexis went down in the first half. Have you gotten any sort of update on him or how he's doing?
No, he was in the locker room. He's hanging out in there with the guys. But I haven't talked to our medical staff at all.
To now win 6 of your last 7, 3 of these with double-digit deficits, what does it say about the resilience? I'm sure you'd rather not be in those deficits in the
Absolutely.
first place.
Yeah.
But what does it say about this team that they've been
We've
able
gotten toughness to us that we didn't have in November. We got some fight to us. I mean, quite frankly, for how we shot the ball Sunday, we probably should have lost by 30. I mean, you have those type of numbers. But I thought our fight, it wasn't good enough, but I thought our fight at least gave us a little bit of a chance on Sunday. But they've gotten more resilient. They're not there all the time yet, but we've got more toughness to us than we had, like I said, back in, November, early December.
Back there, coach.
He's been shooting it well as of late. He's also stepped up his rebounding and been playing great D. Would you talk about being able to trust him and understanding his role?
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously, that's one of the main reasons why we recruited him out of the portal was we thought his defensive ability. And once we've had him, through the summer and the fall, learned that how good of a rebounder he is for his size. And then obviously he's found his role in terms of offensively. He's not bashful on when he lets it fly. And, at times we need that. But yeah, I thought his defensive, he's a vet, so he's been around the block, so he understands some things that maybe younger guys don't. And, defensively, he sniffs things out, picks things up. When actions happen, covers, much like Janicki, that experience starts to show. He covers up mistakes or covers up dribble penetration when we have to switch things and stop the ball. And then obviously his rebounding is, for his size, he's a very good rebounder.
Final question, right?
Coach, you mentioned initiating better in the second half. In the first half, felt like Blackwell and Boyd were trying to get in the paint, just struggling to. Second half, what maybe changed? Was it actions-wise, or was it more so relentlessness, or how'd you kind of see the change there?
I think more than anything was on the other end. We were able to get some stops and get some, some momentum going and create some energy that way. I thought we tried to do too much too early in the first half with dribble penetration, and the lane is still clogged, and they did a good job. They were going to jam things up and make us play over the top of them, and I thought we were too impatient. We were too impatient to take. We needed to work for better, and specifically when you're not making shots, a lot of teams, get tense or try to play quicker and think you're going to quick shoot your way back to it, and it was actually the opposite. We need to change sides of the floor. When we did that in the first half, we got really good looks or got stuff at the rim. It wasn't very many of them, but at least we were able to stretch the defense and move them and not just try to dribble through a loaded defense, and that never works. And that second half, we were, the defense created some offense, and then, we get some shots to go in, and then it starts to spin in the right direction. You got one, John?
Go ahead, John.
You mentioned on Sunday that you can't yell, guys into making shots. Did you like the looks that you guys were getting in the first half when things weren't?
I didn't
falling?
yell about shooting at halftime today. Is that what you're asking about?
Oh no, I'm just referencing that.
You're talking about
that.
Sunday, or you want to talk about today?
I'm talking about today. Did you like the looks that you got in
Yeah,
the first
I mean,
half?
I'll look through the film. The looks weren't. That was the least thing on my mind in terms of how hard we were playing, how physical we were. It really had nothing. And then when you don't play hard and you don't play physical, you end up getting crappy looks. It's amazing how that works where the ball doesn't go in. You play hard, you play physical, man, it makes the ball go in. It's magic. I thought we were much more physical in the second half, and that line, getting to the free throw line was a big part of that. So, does that kind of answer your question? You good? Yeah, Sunday I thought I went through all those 37 threes, 29 of the 37 I'd take again. There's always going to be some that you can say, but you can't play. I can't play mind games with shooters. You got to let them. You got to trust them that they're going to make the decisions, and you let them roll.